Dhamma greetings. This is Aya Dhammadinna, a Buddhist nun and one of Bhikkhu Candana's students. As you're about to watch a Dhamma talk by Bhante, please note that he's a wandering monk. He doesn't have a home and he survives as far as food, shelter, and medicine thanks to donations from viewers like yourselves. So if you are benefiting from these amazing Dhamma talks, please consider making a donation to make sure that Bhante is able to continue doing the work that he does for all of us, freely available. Thank you.
Each of us make a special bargain with every day that we're going to live, function, do things, continue yesterday's routine, be in a relationship. Sometimes we try to make it nice sounding, like commitment. But it's an actual bargain. That might be bargaining with this or that thing, experience, item, something of significance that you, for some reason, either now or in the past, have found to be worthy to be attained. In essence, that is the price. That is the price that you are bargaining for. But with what? Because bargaining indicates it's almost like a two-way street. What is it that you're bargaining? Your time, your life, your peace of mind, your physical body, your health, your mental health, your emotional health. Your well-being, your peace of mind. So the question then that needs to be asked by each and every one of us is, what is it that I'm bargaining for? What is my price? Everyone has their own price, So what's your price? What's your price? What is my price? This is something that is really important for us to ask from ourselves every day, sometimes several times during the day, when you encounter difficulties. That is what a healthy, wise individual must do to maintain some level of coherence with their, principles in life. Because oftentimes the principles or the ideals don't match the way we're living our lives. Because the compelling factor is the price that I'm willing to get paid for this. Let's say a person who has to put up with abuse at a workplace or in a relationship, or a difficult, painful set of circumstances that the person knows sooner or later they will be encountering during the day. But there is that magic number hovering over their head and saying, okay, I'm doing this for this. That's the bargain part. That's the price that you're willing to pay. So if you're saying my hourly wage or my daily wage is, let's say, I don't know, let's throw a number out there, $10,000 or $1,000 or $100 or $10. You're saying that I am willing to put up with X, Y, and Z in order for me to obtain my hourly or daily wage. I mean, this is breaking it into its nuts and bolts. Just, it doesn't sound romantic. It doesn't sound very, lovely and fluffy, and nobody wants to talk about this. Even though when people go and meet, at a party or a gathering, usually the question, if they're newly, being introduced to each other, after they learn about each other's names, the next usual question would be, so what do you do? That could easily be replaced with so what's your price? I mean, for some people it might sound very demeaning, vulgar, etc., but that's the fact. The fact is the fact. You can sugarcoat it, sweet coat it, I don't know, paint it whatever color you want, but the fact is, remains. How much are you willing to sacrifice your peace of mind, your mental, physical, emotional health, your integrity? For some people it is beauty. Youth, looking youthful, attractive, that's another thing. You see women going and spending so much money to become beautiful, physically attractive, or fight against all odds trying to, squeeze animal products into their bodies, gelatin, this, that, Botox, augment their physique, their bodies, their lips, their eyes, their cheeks, everything else, to look something. So for that person, enduring so much pain is actually a decent price to be paying for looking so-called youthful. Sometimes you would see, a perfect image would be from old movies, or even images, paintings from certain parts of human history with different fashions that women had to wear. The tight corsets. Sometimes they had to actually surgically remove the lower ribs from the body so that the female figure would be more pronounced, that hourglass. The torture they had to put up with. Same thing in China. The smaller the feet of a female in the court, the more attractive she was, the more youthful she appeared to be. Meanwhile, you go ahead and lift the skirt and just look at the shoes and see what the torment the woman is going through, putting herself through, actually. That's her price, to be at court, to be attractive, to be accepted. How many hours are being spent away from one's own family in order for, let's say, this person to go and work and to afford that very expensive car, let's say that Tesla, or that, I don't know, very luxurious car. How many hours do they have to spend away from their loved ones? And then when you ask, well, that's my lifestyle, so we have to pay. I have bills to pay. That's another thing many people use to justify their unhappiness. But then they look at each other and then they see somehow a resonance there. See, I'm not the only one who's struggling. I'm not the only one who's suffering. I'm not the only one who's putting up with abuse. She's doing it, he's doing it, so Who am I to complain? Let's just join in for the ride and be quiet and live the way we're supposed to, as we get paid our daily wage that we have agreed. So, during the last 10 years, exponentially, the number of individuals going to seek therapy have been incredible. The growth was incredible, is incredible, and it's going up and up. There's not enough therapists. But no one's asking the right question. What is being sacrificed? And what is this thing that you are pursuing? Is this going to give you a fulfilling state of happiness, contentment? The answer is usually absolutely no. Why? Because you have convinced yourself that the thing that you are pursuing is worthwhile. A person who's practicing the Dhamma proper, a person who is trying to understand what Lord Buddha's teachings were and are, what they're trying to say, or what they're trying to do to help us, has also a price, Such a person also has their own price, and that is the price, the prize, rather, of freedom from suffering. That is the price that they are willing to pay in order for them to practice virtue, practice precepts, avoid certain negative, toxic tendencies, being in toxic relationships. They're no longer willing to put up with their previous notions of happiness when they have been discovered for what they are, utterly empty, void, because they're no longer able to convince themselves by looking at the world around them and saying, you know what, these insults I get at my workplace, or I feel terrible, I feel ugly, I feel dirty after every day's work. Coming home, I feel like this life isn't this. Ugliness part comes in when you convince yourself the next morning to get up and do the same thing again. Who do you have to blame for that? Nobody other than yourself, in all honesty. Please do not complain about the government. Do not complain about the world, etc., how people are. You are a huge contributing factor, if not the sole responsible person for yourself to be placed in that. Why? Because you are willing to sell yourself for that price. Sell yourself for that price. So what is your price? Is this thing that you're doing, is this relationship that you're in, truly giving you a sense of fulfillment? Is leaving you happy? In fact, not just leaving you happy at the end of it, but basically at the end of the day, etc., when the task is completed, let's say, the project. No, but it has to be doing so before, during, and after. Those 3 time periods have to be included in their so-called promise of delivering happiness to you. Is that happening? That's a very good question, I think, to ask oneself whenever you're in some type of an endeavor, some type of a function, a relationship where you're dedicating yourself to. Relationship with work, the people you hang out with. Is that fulfilling or no? If it is not, why are you doing it? Well, there's a price there that you're willing to pay, and that is your time and your sense of fulfillment which is not there, but you're doing it for some reason. And when you dig, possibly one of the answers will be that you don't want to be alone. You want to be part of the crowd. You want to fit in. That's why many people spend time with individuals that they honestly, when you catch them at the right moment, they will say about those individuals that they're just losers, that they are just terrible people. Then why are you spending time with them? When they are not uplifting you, when they are not giving you a sense of wholeness in your heart, a sense of contentment. Well, the answer is the same thing, because you have willed yourself, you have given up yourself to that situation by agreeing to get paid with their company, with such a company, with such a work, with such a paycheck. So many people, millions, hundreds of millions, if not billions of people around the world are doing things that they hate. They are in relationships that they hate, literally hate. They abhor, they despise, but they do it. So that's something to ask ourselves.